Ma means vision. It means sight. In this particular context, we're talking about oversight and insight. And astrologically, that relates to the sun and the moon. Meaning you cannot really live ma'at. You cannot really teach ma'at without dealing with astronomy and dealing with the stars. Even the definition seba, which is translated as star or planet, when you look at when it's referred to as dealing with a teacher, the stars are in there. Meaning from a Kemetic perspective, a black ancestral perspective, you cannot really teach anything if you don't really understand the heavens, if you don't have rek, knowledge of the heavens, or reku, knowledge of self, right? I said it earlier. If you were to go research knowledge of self now, you're going to see a whole bunch of quotes, man-made quotes. And if you keep researching, you might see a particular image that they say is above all the temples. They say, oh, knowledge of self is above all the temples. Well, let me tell you, the midut, the hieroglyph above most of the temples or the doorways that you may walk into is the sun disk with the wings. And when you look closely at it and you see other things, you'll notice that they're talking about the heavens. And most temples that you walk into at the ceiling is a bunch of stars. It's the heavens. So in order for man to know thyself, he must know his astrology chart. He must know how the transits are affecting his ebb, his will, and the will of others. That is how you govern. For us, astrology is not just learning about your own chart and your own problems. You must learn about others. Because everything's about relationships. You got to engage with them. And from a leadership perspective, you have to govern the people. You should know what the people want. When you know the moon's going to be full, that people are going to be acting like what? Lunatics. There's going to be some craziness. The blood pressure is going to be high in people. Police deploy more police at the full moon because they understand that people are going to they're going to be a little bit more erratic. That's a government through the stars. That's a move that's based on the stars. So when we talk about ma'at, we must talk about the stars and observing the transits and what's happening on the earth geopolitically, politically, and then make our decisions based on that. We see what truth is through the heavens, not based on what some man who claims to have knowledge or information that he's holding secret, that as long as you bow yourself to him, as long as you be humble, he'll give you this information. No, the wisdom is already in the heavens and the stars. It's already there for you to see. Is that not what Mufasa told Simba in the circle of life? We're getting this stuff at an early age. The people who are in power, who are controlling the resources behind the scenes, they're telling us in all these movies. They're definitely telling us in the Marvel movies. Make no mistake. Marvel's research on these spiritual concepts is better than the CIA. Their R&D division is on a whole nother level. So Ma'al has to do with observing the stars and how we discern truth. Cut. It's a sickle. Cut and discern what is good, what is bad, and that is relative to the time. And this is how our destiny will be judged. This is how we will be judged. The moon. Because most of the times that when you see the eye, vision, most of the times when you see references to vision in the literature, it's referring to planets, mainly the hierarchy, which is the moon and the sun. And Ma'at deals a little more with the moon. Once again, the moon is responsible for the growing of vegetables, the cultivation of vegetables. Tahuti is the lunar god. That's her husband. Of course, he appears in the solar boat with Ra as well. But most importantly, he is presented as a lunar enter, and she's his wife. There's a connection there. How else are you going to grow the food? How are you going to know when the food's going to grow? How are you going to farm? Based on the seasons. And what are seasons but the interactions between the sun and the moon and weather and climate? At a very general perspective, at a very general purview, that's what it is. When my heart is being weighed and my ebb, your ebb is correlated with the moon. That's why I said earlier, when your ebb, your will, your mind reflects the Ka, the sun, which is your destiny. Because the moon reflects light. When it's filled with the light of your destiny, then you will be judged to have lived correctly. Ma'akeru. I'll give an example. If your moon sign, your moon is in Aries or Amen, and you keep doing the Libra thing. Libra is the balancing point of Aries, Libra in this age, in this time, if you keep doing the Libra thing, trying to get along with everybody, trying to avoid conflict, or not understanding that sometimes conflict is the way to harmony. That's what history tells us. That's what the stars tell us. If you keep doing that, I don't want to do that, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, and you are not protecting people, you're not doing what you have to do. Now, socially and on the earth, you'll be told that you're a good person, that you didn't start nothing and you were nonviolent, or you didn't do this and you were a good person, you got along with everybody. But when you go get your heart weighed, Ma'at, Tahuti's going to say, did you live according to the dictates of Aries, of Amen, of Sutek? Did you go and protect people? Let me show you all the people that you did not protect trying to be a good person. Amit, eat that person's heart. You will not be declared Ma'akeru. Doesn't matter what people say over here. And geopolitically, there's been a perversion. You'll be declared to not have lived truth. And as I'm saying it to those people who have that now, it's probably hurting them. The sickle, truth hurts. It cuts. One of the problems with this passivity that we've been forced into spiritually to believe is this idea of no boundaries. That in order for the scale to be balanced, essentially we've been manipulated into believing there's no boundaries. Accept everything. Accept everything. Everything is acceptable. Oh, you don't want to check that person or confront them because you don't want no problems. You want things to be good. And good for you, or good as we've been taught, is just a smile. I just want to know that we good. I want to know if the energy's good. Oh, you don't got a problem with it? We really mean a smile. That's superficial. That's not ma'at. That's not the true purpose of Libra, which is the main sign that Ma'at works through and Ma'ar works through. This is not about being good with people and people smiling at you. That is something that we've been coerced into believing. It's not real, because all of us know that with relating to other people, there's going to be conflict. And if your destiny, if your moon is in Aries, maybe your Ka is dealing with Aries, or Scorpio, I'm using that to talk about Mars as an example, or Seba Ayapti Chapet, which is the name of Mars in ancient Kemet, or Heru Desher. If that is a part of your purpose and what you're here for, if you don't confront that person, you're gonna have a problem. Now, if somebody else is destined to be some type of, I don't know, nurturer or caregiver, or be home with kids in a daycare or whatever, they're not gonna be judged the same way. That's what the true relativity of truth and comes from. Most of the times when people talk about truth is relative or whatever, all of that is to create a gray area to where now we have all this confusion. This is my truth and multiple truths. No, there's a very consistent foundation of truth, poles of expansion and contraction, yin and yang is very consistent in the literature if you look, and the deviations from it and what it does. What is relative is contextual. It is evil for me to go outside in the winter with no coat and no clothes on. In the summer, it would be good because of the heat. It is evil for me to be wearing a North Face or a Montclair jacket in the summertime, where my body is trying to release heat. All these little details is about living in harmony and creating balance and living in balance. This is what Ma'at is about. It's not all these big abstractions. No, it's very real. It's very real and very applicable. That's what we need. We need practicality and applicability. That's what we need.